Signings everywhere, excitement everywhere, not a win in sight though. Welcome to Blue Monday, an Ipswich Town podcast. It was Ipswich 2, Derby 2. David Diamond is a 106th minute goal, the latest goal, forget extra time, Ipswich Town have ever scored. And we'll put that to the chat as well. You think of a later one?
No, it's got to be. Excluding extra time, it has to be, hasn't it?
For you one. That, Joe?
Yeah, I can't think of even many games where we've gone to 106 minutes, let alone.
I can think of the Sunderland one last year, but no one scored, did they?
Thank God.
They nearly did, but no, they didn't. It was, the year before. It was. It was perhaps the only thing the officials got. Well, probably was the only thing the officials got nailed on all afternoon.
Are you setting the tone for a whiny podcast here, David?
Well, I think perhaps we are a bit really, Ben, because I think all around us who say it's going to be 7 minutes and it should be 10 at least. And then, bloody hell, 13, what? But it was totally, we'll get on to why it was deserved, but it was totally deserved. But anyway, ignore all that. Joe Fairs has just come out with the stat that will cheer us all up. Joe Fairs. Go on, Joe.
And we are now 23 home games unbeaten in the Championship. A season's worth of unbeatenness in the Championship.
Get in there.
Yeah. How many times have we won in 2025?
Don't worry.
Ignore.
Less fun than Fabio Wardley at Portman Road.
There you go. Welcome, everybody. Gallows humour is high here. Look, we're not going to talk too much about transfers, and there's plenty to talk about in Ipswich 2, Derby 2. Joe Fairs and Craig Fimbo will be live tomorrow to talk about transfers. Look, I'm going to contradict myself. Joe, we're going to go live, and we're expecting maybe some outgoings tomorrow.
Yeah, I think we are still trying to get some incomings in as well. So it's going to be a very, very busy day. Just even if we sign no one, we've still got at least. I think we all assume Connor Townsend won't be registered. There's still going to need to be at least 4 outgoings just to cover that. So at the very worst, it's 4 deals that need to be done tomorrow.
So we'll be across that. But as I say, plenty to talk about here, David. Ipswich Town versus Derby County. And the setup for this one, Dave, is probably 2 clubs, fan bases, managers that just want August out the way and to have a bit of time with the players. Derby want their injured players back. Kieran McKenna wants to try and start knitting some coherent pattern of play somewhere together. It was one to tick off and just try and win for both teams, wasn't it, going in?
Yeah, I mean, I think with Sam walking and Rich were sort of walking down from the pub to the game. We're saying, you'll need a win today. But it would be great to have a convincing win. And then we both decided, no, just a win. Just any sort of win would be absolutely fine. And, didn't quite turn out that way, did it?
No. Here is your 11, Joe. Remember, this is after 4 players essentially were signed in kind of the preceding were announced in the preceding 36 hours. So Palmer in goal. Ashley Young starts at right back. Joe with Leif Davis at left back. Jacob Greaves, Dara O'Shea the centre backs. We have a starting double pivot of Matasiwa and Kaust. Left side Philogene, right side McAteer, and you can still find him in the number 10, Joe. It's Connor Chaplin off George Hurst. Surprises? Things now set in stone in there? What are your thoughts on that 11? Come to you in a minute, Dave.
Yeah, no, I was surprised with Connor Chaplin because I did a podcast yesterday morning, just sort of before I went to the game, saying how I think he could be one that could be going effectively at the end of this window. And then he started that day, which makes you think he's probably a lot less likely to sort of come in for a start and then to go a couple of days later seems a lot less likely. Yeah, but I've all the other ones I was pleased. Ashley Young in for Ben Johnson. I think he's looked good there. Good to see Jens Kajus get a start. McAteer, I think we all knew that he'd be coming in to start games here when we signed him a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, I think that was a team, as maybe other than sort of Chaplin for Smolix, I think that was a team we all maybe wanted and expected.
Is that kind of a new right-hand side, McAteer maybe and Furlong now, Dave, going forward?
Well, McAteer, Furlong, McAteer, Young, you would think so. Yeah, you would think so. He hasn't shelled out whatever he shelled out for McAteer. Let's put Furlong to one side for McAteer, not to at least give him a shout out there. Although, how can I put this? He wasn't too effective yesterday, I would say.
No. Bench for Town as well, Dave. Akpom, Clark, Smodics, Taylor, Azon, Walton, Johnson, Kipray, and Furlong. So, pretty good quality squad for a team with no wins, Dave.
Yeah, it is. I mean, when we spoke about the bench, I think before the Southampton game, I think
it was a barometer, Dave.
It was thin, wasn't it? It was pretty thin on the ground there. And no disrespect, but I think even people, Finn Barbrook may have even been on the bench then. I think he might have been. So it was pretty thin on the ground. So that does sum up the strength of the squad. And of course, you've also got Nunes and Egley to add to that as well.
My God. And they were introduced to the crowd before the game.
Yes, they were.
Sort of rapturous. As Nunes walks around swinging his Pride of Anglia blue and white scarf to really just lean into it as well. He has gone the full hog with sticking two fingers up to those up the road, which is quite funny, isn't it? Really, you've got to enjoy these things.
I don't think low key translates into Chilean. I don't think. No, he was going for it big style.
No, he's a confident boy, let's just say. Derby County lineup with Zetterstrom in goal. Sanderson Johnston, who literally just arrived from Sturm Graz. Matt Clark. You can actually, we're going to have about 3 former Ipswich players in here because we're going to go Callum Elder as well. Yeah. Remember him? Craig Forsyth, who's been around for about 100 years. Lewis Travis, who probably had a lot of fans as Ipswich fans in numbers yesterday, and that probably reduced after this game. Clark in midfield. Ibu Adams, who's playing a bit further forward this season. Rian Brewster and Carlton the Nuisance Morris, Dave.
Yeah, so just going through their side. I mean, Matt Clark, you could just put open brackets, rugged, close brackets, rugged, just gets in the way.
He's all right on the ball, Clark, isn't he?
Oh, no, he can play. No, don't get me wrong. He's no.
You love a left-footed defender as well, Dave, don't you?
Just out and out proper defender. I quite like that Clark. I think is he on loan from Liverpool? Bobby Clark?
I think he's on loan from Red Bull Salzburg. I think they sold him out.
Oh, they sold him
to
out.
one of the Red Bull clubs last season. I think he's on loan from there.
He's a sister side. He looked a player to me. Brewster looks like he's lost 4 stone since he's left Sheffield United. And Carlton Morris was just a handful. Absolute handful, wasn't he? All games.
The news water is wet.
Yeah, well, there you go.
I'm surprised Derby being able to attract him down there.
Yeah, honestly, Joe.
Had a good season with Luton in the Premier League, didn't he?
I thought he was
only a couple of million, Joe, as well. Really good deal that. He scored in every game, Morris.
Yeah, no, really, really good. His goal penalty aside, I thought he led the line really well. But no, one or two players in there caught the eye. And as you mentioned, Travis, who ultimately was become the pantomime villain of the day, obviously.
Yeah, and they got loads injured. Joe Blackett, Taylor, Nelson's out for ages. He's got Wilson down as injured, but I thought he signed for MK didn't he? Yeah. Owen Beck.
It was only today that went through though. So.
Oh, okay. Patrick Aguiman, who they spent a ton of money on as well. Langas is injured. They got Salverson back to the bench. Caden Jackson on the bench there as well. But yeah, they just want to get the international break done and get some players back, don't they, Derby, Joe?
Yeah, and I think we'll come into it a bit more. But for some reason, this transfer window has been so disruptive to the whole of football.
So irritating, isn't it?
You look at even in the Premier League, you got Visser not playing for Brentford, Isaac not playing for Newcastle. Just there's so much still going on, and I don't know whether it's the Club World Cup, but it feels like everyone's just been waiting for this international break and the end of the window to start the season properly from here. And it's just a shame that we sort of stumble into it with 3 points rather than maybe like 7 or something like that, which we probably should have on the board. And it just feels like it's going to be a whole new season starting again on September the 12th. And I'm not just talking about Ipswich, I'm talking about a lot of teams. Even like today, Villa are playing Crystal Palace. Emi Martinez isn't in the team because he's going to go to Man United tomorrow. And it's like you're 3 games into the season and a sort of one of the world's best goalkeepers is moving between 2 clubs in the league. It's weird, isn't it?
It's
Don't you
daft,
think
isn't it, Dave? I know people will probably rightly accuse us of, well, we're very motivated in our reasoning now. We're a year one parachute team because it affects us more. But it's bothered me for a few years now, not just because we're screwed over by it this year.
Yeah, I mean, maybe because it's our first year as a parachute team. But I just feel this window more than any other window, it's just been squeezed and condensed, isn't it? To like the
Really?
last 2 weeks, even last week. Not just us, just every movement. I know we talk about the domino effect and players moving and stuff. And that's still going to happen as it does on every last day. Well, it still will happen tomorrow, but it just seems it's just gone crazy at the very last minute.
If you're an agent, are you pulling an all-nighter tonight, Dave?
I think you probably are, aren't you? If you're worth your salt, I think you probably are. Yeah.
Sorry, Joe. Go on.
There's so much work to do, isn't it? And like I say, you look at we've got 30 players and we can only register 25. There's, I think Oxford or Derby they're like 4 or 5 over the limit. There's so many players that need to be going out as well. So many deals to do tomorrow across football. It wouldn't surprise you if there's like as many deals done tomorrow as there has been in the rest of the windows. It's that sort of club.
Well, and then you'll get all these late announcements where people put the intention
deal
to
sheet
do
is in.
To do the deal in at 6:59. And you're right, Joe. A lot of loans with spare players are going to go through. I mean, I've got to say, with my kind of empathy hat on, at least Sheffield Wednesday might get some players at the end of the window. At 6:55, some players might come up. We're just delaying this game that we didn't win. How do we start, David Diamond?
Not to say great, not really, as we sort of pretty much have done. Really, I didn't think we started that fluently. Thought Derby had a fair bit of possession early on, and we started. Perhaps started to grow into the game as the half went on. Really, it wasn't anything really spectacular I can think of. I think it was before the goal, Karius did one sublime turn and dropped his shoulder and left his man in midfield. Travis, I think it probably was Travis, who perhaps was to get his revenge perhaps later. So there one or two good things going on, but again, we're not really. I don't think we made their keeper have a save, did we, Joe? I can't recall anything particularly. Was there?
No, not early. But I thought from about sort of 10, 15 minutes from that point on, we sort of took control of the game and actually pretty good from that point onwards. From there,
I did Derby Bristol City over on my YouTube channel, and Derby were good for 10 minutes and then kind of fizzled a bit. Was it a bit like that?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, I think it was quite even the first 10 minutes or so, and then after that, we were up until half time by far the better team. But as we go into, you didn't get the second goal when we needed it.
You're right. Yeah.
Should we talk about the first goal then, Joe? And Zetterstrom, who I like, started last season particularly well in the Championship, but it's a really, really poor bit of goalkeeping to leave Greaves pretty much with an open goal, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a good corner from Ashley Young, sort of dropping it to the back post. As Zetterstrom sort of goes up, he's not really under any pressure. There's no one really near it. He's appealing for a foul, but there's nothing there, and he doesn't. I don't know if he even gets a touch on the ball. He might get a very, very slight.
It comes off Sanderson.
It comes off Sanderson, does it? And then, Greaves is there just with effectively an open goal and just nods it in, and we feel like we're up and away. And we just continue to put the pressure on from that point. Had another corner a few minutes later where Darrow Shea gets clear at the back and heads it into the post. George Hurst robs Travis in the midfield, feeds in McAteer, and his cross is sort of blocked and goes behind for another corner. And we end up with some real domination for that last 20 minutes of the half, but with nothing to show for it. You're going at 1-0, I think, if you go in at 2-0, this game is done, isn't it?
Dave, has Joe just summed up the whole of August there? I'm looking at this here. 64% on the possession, 1.48 XG, 9 shots at goal in the first half. Derby with 0. But just at the moment, the patterns of play aren't quite knit, and we just aren't there, are we?
There was shades. There was another lovely move when Karius just drags back in midfield. Is sensational, plays in Chaplin. You think, go on, get out of your feet, have a go, and then lays it off to Philogene, and nothing comes of that. Philogene has one on the side, netting. The McAteer pullback that Joe mentioned there. It's right in front of me, and he's kind of a bad first touch. Hurst sort of plays him in, and it's the sort of thing I've seen Burns, over the years do that brilliantly. Just get the ball out of his feet and just hit it hard and low towards goal, towards the far post, but kind of takes it out of his feet, so he's got to pull it back. And yeah, that was a pretty good opportunity. And then I'd say for the last, I think Joe's been a little bit generous. We did start to get more control of the game on say 20, but I think certainly the last 20, if we'd have scored another goal, then we'd probably win that game 3 or 4. But as Joe said, you don't, and you're prone to what happened in the second half.
Sorry about that. Footmob just decided to play a Pokemon advert in there. Apologies for that. Professionalism is, and I would normally, everyone will blame David Diamond for that, and it was very much me. What's Eustace going to be saying at half-time, Joe? He's probably going to be pretty pleased that there's only 1 goal in it and, chance to get back in the game.
Yeah, I guess that's it. They've got through it to an extent, going in at only 1-0 down, and then you can try and turn it into a 45-minute game from there, can't you? You just got to try and get something out of the game, which sort of straight from the break they do, don't they?
Yeah, you'll carry on then, Joe.
Yeah, so I think Leif Davis sort of switches off and Brewster runs across him. It's just one straight ball in, and Davis gets back to recover and slides in to block the shot, and the ball is just looping into Palmer's hands, but it does strike Leif Davis on the hand. It is a penalty. There's no sort of two ways about it. It's just frustrating because the shot wasn't going anywhere, and there's not really a lot he could do from where he was, and the ref takes an age to give it, doesn't he? Because it looked like a handball straight away, and the ref just
blatant handball, isn't it? I don't know why.
Just waits and waits, and the derby players go mad, and he must have had one of the linesmen in his ear and checks it with them and gives the penalty. And sort of Carlton Morris steps up, and they're really good penalty right into the side netting, sort of whips it across him. Like the Ipswich players were appealing that he had a double kick on it, but I've watched it a few times and can't see that he did. But the rule's different now anyway. If you do a double kick on a penalty, you retake it. It's not disallowed like it was. So if he does, at worst, he'd just had another go at it. So it's not like it was would have been disallowed if that happened there. And yeah, and then from that point, I'd say the confidence sort of drains out the team a little bit.
Well, Joe, can I just come back on something? Because I've had a load of Derby fans tweeting me about Dogso and handballs. What is because you never see red cards get given. So when someone essentially has a shot and the last player between the shot and the keeper handballs it, I don't know what the law is or what it says. Well, but no one ever gets a red card for denying of a goal scoring opportunity, despite the fact if you fouled someone in that position, I don't know what the law is, but I've just had multiple Derby fans saying, why didn't Davis get Dogso red card? But they never seem to for handball. I don't know if is there something.
Well, I think
different?
the Dogso for handball is if like the ball is being played in to somebody and you put your hand out so that they don't get in to have a shot.
The goal scoring opportunity has already happened. Is that what?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you're not denying a goal. If you're on the line, the ball was just floating into Palmer's arm. So I'd say if Palmer wasn't there, then yeah, it probably is a red card because it's stopping a goal. But yeah, so it's just one of those. Yeah, definitely not a red. Yeah, and then let's say we seem to then sort of just that confidence in attack went from there, and they had something to defend, so they just sort of sat back really, really deep and slowed the game down. I wouldn't even want to. You can believe how slow the game was in that second half. It was just. I've never seen anything like it, really. And we just kept getting into decent positions, and then sort of like Philogene, and they just kept slowing it down and coming back inside. And there wasn't that sort of pace and intent. We still created a couple of decent, like Philogene put a ball in, which then I can't remember who it was, headed it across, and George Hurst is there, and it just sort of, I don't know, just nods it straight at the goalie. Sort of anywhere else, and it probably is a goal. Really, really big chance there on that one, and. We have some all right moments, but there's not a huge amount in it for us. And then they then get the second goal.
Dave, have you got anything to add on the penalty or the intervening?
Just going back to the goals, it's superb
Yeah,
ball. It wasn't great as a bit of defending by perhaps Greaves, or especially as Joe said, Davis, who lets perhaps Brewster run off him a bit. But it was a superb chip ball from that Clark from midfield. I thought really nicely weighted with one of those balls with a bit of backspin on. Yeah, super ball that.
At what point does Hurst go through and look like Clark fouled him in the box,
that was at 1-1, wasn't it?
That was at 1-1. But the Hurst chance, that was quite a well worked free kick, wasn't it?
It's really good, wasn't it? Yeah,
yeah, really good. And
There's 3 of them, Dave.
Does he get a call? Does he not? Does a call put him? I don't know. I don't know. But he shouldn't get a call because he should bury it. He's point blank. What was he, 5 yards out maybe? And it almost takes him by surprise, doesn't it? He's almost got time to chest it down and break the net, volley it in. But perhaps it just sums him up at the moment, perhaps. But the penalty.
Why didn't the ref give that? He thinks he dived.
Obviously did.
I thought it was a dive. And it was right in front of me, looking at it, and I thought it was a dive. But when you look at it back, I guess we're used to VAR penalties where they slow it down, look at it. Yeah. There is contact. It is a penalty that probably does get overturned for VAR. But my first view of it was dive. He just looked like he just left his leg in there, threw himself up for it, and. I know for me, I want my striker getting a shot away there. I want him just shifting onto his left foot and testing the goalie. So yeah, I know it's been looked at and it has been deemed that it was a penalty, that it should have been a penalty. But for me, at the time, in real time, it looked like a dive.
It's one of those, Dave, where it's almost a penalty and a dive, isn't it? Because players always make sure that they make it so obvious to the ref. Oh, he slid in. He caught me, and down I go. And I've said for years, I'd love to see a ref go, right, penalty. Oh, and by the way, simulation as well, yellow. Yeah, they'll never do it, though, will they?
For exaggeration.
Yeah.
That won't happen. But there was definite contact there. But George didn't have his greatest game yesterday, unfortunately.
Dave, you've already said that about 2 or 3 of our players,
mate. I think I've got to say it again. He wasn't at his best.
Joe, I've got a bone to pick with you. You were doing one of your tub thumping speeches the other day, and you know what it's like when Joe does a tub thumping speech. I'm like eating it up. I'm like, we're going to score 1,000 points here. And Joe, you were telling me how solid we were with 1v1s, and if David Diamond is not going to do it, when this ball for the Brewster goal lands, there is no way you can say crap. There is no way you can see that is rubbish. I'm sorry. I mean, Brewster takes it well, but where's your solidity gone, Joe? It's all your fault, mate.
Yeah, this is one of the point I was making to some people yesterday in the pub after the game, that we seem to still be defending like a really high risk team, one-on-one battles, trying to bring the ball down maybe when you shouldn't, doing that. But then when we get into attacking areas, we then lose all that risk-taking ability. So we're taking the risks in areas where it can hurt us, and then we're not taking the risks in areas where it can hurt them. So when you look at like the Southampton game, that comes from Greaves sort of breaking out and losing the ball. At the Birmingham game, again, we sort of get ourselves really wide to try and play out from the back. Yeah, and the goal kick's not very good, and it ends up in the back of our net. And it seems like almost every goal we've conceded has come from almost like trying to be too good with the ball at the back and trying to play with it and get through there. And then when we get up the other end, we then don't take those risks. And there's a lot been talking in the chat about Leif Davis.
You're totally right, mate.
Sort of inverting, but he's inverted, but he's now sort of drifting back deep. Where I know it's on your pre-season, when you watch the Aberdeen game, him and Philogene were just right on that last line, playing some really, really good stuff. Where now Davis, I don't know, he just seems like he's got one thought on his mind of playing a few yards deeper. So it's almost like, well, there's no point in him being there if that's where he's going to play. You want him there as a 10, not an 8, if that's what he's going to be doing when he's inverting. And Philogene then just comes back inside too often. I guess Jack Clark did the same as well. And I don't know, we just don't see when Sammy Smodix and Chuba Akpom were on the pitch, they were picking the ball up in our own half rather than there. And we just don't seem to take those risks in an attacking sense. But yeah, this one, obviously you see what O'Shea's trying to do. He's trying to bring the ball down so he can start it. The problem is if he heads it up the pitch, all of a sudden there's probably a Derby player down with a head injury, and with the game stopped again because it was just stopped so often. The game, there was no flow to it. So I could see why he's trying to keep the ball alive, just not giving it straight back to them, because you don't want the ball to get out of play and lose another 90 seconds off the clock. So he's trying to bring it down to do something. But yeah, he sort of lets the ball away from him, and Brewster takes it off his toes and finishes really well. Sort of goes past and sort of drives into that space, and no one can really touch him because you're probably going to bring him down if you touch him. So you're sort of relying on your keeper hopefully to make a save, and unfortunately isn't able to do so.
Dave, crap.
Yeah, pretty bad day. Yeah, no, it was. Yeah, and 9 times out of 10, he just doesn't do that. But as Joe's probably hit the nail on the head, where it was such a spoiled second half. I think McKenna called it broken, or it just was. And I think, all he's trying to do is trying to retain possession. But I suppose he's a little bit unlucky. He chested down quite well, but too close to Brewster. He makes the challenge with Brewster. And again, majority of the time, the ball breaks for us, but it just breaks perfectly for Brewster in front of him to just take the ball away from him. And has, showed good pace and a good finish, to be fair.
Dave, this is the deal now, though. And I've had, I remember talking to a Leeds fan last year, and he was complaining to me that teams were playing low blocks and booting the ball out of the ground. And I'm like, if you have 5x TV money, a better squad than everybody, much more transfer income and all those advantages, this is the reality now. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying it's the reality, Dave.
Yeah. And we're going to have to probably put up
there you
with
go.
that for another...
LJ, I agree with that. Yeah.
We're probably going to put that up for another 19, 20 home games, probably.
Yeah,
just are. Well, maybe not. Perhaps against the likes, maybe Leicester, perhaps, and one or two, maybe not. But that's what you're gonna have to put up with.
And Joe, we wanted the TV money and the good players, didn't we? It's, I don't know whether it devalues your season ticket entertainment somewhat.
There does just seem a wider problem with football, though, with the spoiling tactics and how much of it is allowed. I think Kieran McKenna mentioned in the post game that there was only sort of 41 or 42 minutes of ball in play time, and it's just not entertaining. That second half was just not entertaining. It's just, and there's so many games you watch now on the telly where like the last 20, just nothing happens in the last 20 minutes because it's just the game is killed. And obviously teams do that within the rules at the moment, saying. That's how you're going to find a way to win games, and that's how you got to shut down. And we're not adverse to doing that ourselves. We do that when we need to. But the
old Connor Chaplin sit down in the glory season.
So then the games playing the games at our pace as well. So it's not a anti-Derby pro Ipswich thing because we do it when we need to. But it is, as a football fan, it is not entertaining to watch it happen constantly, and the subs being so slow and the head injuries and the physios coming on every 2 or 3 minutes for stuff that's clearly not issue. Like when the goalie goes down, the goalie gets called over to the touchline. He runs across the touchline. Someone gives him a message, goes back, gets called 30 seconds later and then sits on the floor. And it's like, well, what do you think? But you can't do anything about it because that's just how it is. But I don't know.
Well, you can.
It does need to be done.
You can add 16 minutes stoppage time. Or as Dave says,
2 or 3 goals. Yeah.
But I think one thing we miss is before their second goal, 3 minutes before their second goal, Lewis Travers puts in, violent conduct on Jens Kajus. And the ref sees it. The ref's looking straight at it and books him. And that is as clear a red card as you're going to see.
Nothing can happen with. I mean, not that it makes any difference to us, but if he books him, nothing can happen with that after the fact, can it?
Actually, I think they can. They can look at it again if they deem to be violent conduct. Ultimately, if you punch someone, because ultimately the ref, if they look at it and say, well, the ref hasn't seen it properly, but it doesn't make any difference to us if he gets a suspension against teams when we're not playing there. So it's but that was an awful tackle, and like I say, we know what sort of player Lewis Travers is. He is one of the...
I thought he was great for us.
Yeah, but he's one of those sort of needly, spiky players that gets in the ref's ear. And I think he's one of those ones that when he's on your team, you really like him. But as an opposition player, he is just that. But this was not that. This was a nasty tackle. And I saw he put on his Instagram that it was an accident. And it's like, well, it wasn't an accident. It might be an accident that you stamped on his chest, but you were trying to leave something on him. You might not have meant to leave your foot where it did, but it wasn't accidental. It was a deliberate attempt to do something to him.
No, not a good one, Dave. Carry on, Michael.
He certainly didn't adhere himself to the crowd when he clapped all 4 corners of the ground twice as he sauntered off,
killing a bit more time. I'm going to say, it's obviously he's done his reputation not a lot of good with Ipswich fans, but I do remember Dave having a conversation when he came in on loan of, we need this in this running. We need this leadership. We need someone yapping in the referees here. But like Joe said, it's the whole Joe Garner thing. When it's for your team, you like it. But I mean, it is a different matter if there's a potential injury to
that was a nasty
player.
One. That was, and if you look at it back, there was just no need for it. He just leaves his foot there. It's not good. To be fair to Kajus, I don't think he made too much of it, did he? Perhaps, but it was a it was a nasty one.
Right, walk me through this 100. To be fair, did you see the Millwall Wrexham game? We'll get onto it. Lewis
Yeah, they
O'Brien
scored
scored
late.
in the 108th
They
minute, let alone but
yeah,
poor
that
old
was
Danny
injury to a
Ward
keep.
got knocked out.
Yeah.
But walk me through this massive stoppage time. How much?
well,
What did the board say?
13.
13. Unlucky
Yeah.
for some.
So I think talking about subs. So subs were made. Agpom and Smodics came on, both playing really quite deep. Smodics, I didn't think affected it too much, but Agpom showed some nice touches, Joe, didn't he? Had a hell of a shot. Just sort of picked the ball
Left
up from
foot,
deep,
wasn't it? Yeah.
worked the ball on his left foot, and sort of whistled one. Just perhaps it was always going over, but he looked pretty lively. He looked very lively, I thought. And Jack Clark came on, was involved as Jack Clark is, picking the ball up left, drifting in. Once he tried his trademark and sort of shanked it, much to the derision of 28,000 or whatever, it was like 27,000 Ipswich fans there. But he was showing that at least he showed perhaps more confidence, perhaps, than Philogene had, to be fair. And we're pushing, and the game's done. Really, you just think, that's it. The game's done. This is just too awful. And I think it's actually Akpom that sort of picks up ball. I think he picks up the ball right and launches it left foot into the box.
Get in the box, Dave.
Get it in the mixer. It's a challenge. I think. Sonderson may head it clear. I think. And Taylor's challenges. I think it's a sub Ozo, and I think it's
Ozo more like with a tackle like that.
Again, he sort of challenges for the ball. He is kind of bulked by both of them, and I think by that time, perhaps the ref thinks he may have dropped a clanger in not giving the Hurst one.
A foul, though, isn't it?
Maybe, but it is a foul. It is a foul.
He gives it straight away. This one.
He does give it straight away, and fair play to Clark. So the ball's now run over to the right, and Clark suddenly sprints across the penalty area straight to the ball.
So Hurst is off now, yeah?
Hurst is off now, but Ashley Young is still on. Smodics is on. Picks the ball up, runs back to the spot. This is mine. Plonks it there, and the crowd holds its breath. I said to Kieran, my lad, honestly, I think everyone did. I said to Kieran, my lad, I said, do you know what? This is it might sound a bit over the top, but his Town career on the line here. Do you know what? If he misses this, though, with the narrative around him. But, mate, what a confident boy. Absolutely picture.
Always
perfect.
lift it a little bit,
perfect.
even if the keeper goes the right
said
way.
exactly the same thing on Suffolk afterwards. Absolutely hits. It's a perfect just inside the post and hits the side netting with Zetterstrom doing his best Alex Palmer impression of going the wrong way. Really good pen. Really good on showed he really fronted up for that. And as someone said, massive balls to do that. Hence the big shorts.
Joe, anything on?
Funny. Well, it was funny last year when we played Nottingham Forest in the shootout and lost in the shootout. Clark was on the pitch and didn't take one of the penalties. Jack Taylor took one, and there was a lot of talk like Jack Clark has never missed a penalty. I think he took them for Sunderland and was like 8 of 8 or something along those lines, and then didn't take one in the shootout. But then obviously stepped up and took a really good penalty, and hopefully. I know we're sort of clutching a little bit, but hopefully that's a moment that can give him some confidence to then kickstart his career because he hasn't got it going yet, has he? And it was like Dave, you could see he went straight across to get the ball. No one else has taken that, and really good penalty and big moment for him. And we still after that there's still like a minute left after this, and rather than get the ball back in the box, we just farted around with it at the back, didn't we?
Get forward, Joe.
We sort of went back across, and Ashley Young had it, went all the way across Leith Davis. Oh, no, Leith Davis off at this point. Went all the way across and all the way back to Young, and then the ref just blew up. And you just think, just drop one in the box. You've got nothing to lose here. But
what we did see, Ben, before we equalised, you might not have picked though. We did see the rare occurrence of an Ipswich goalkeeper going up for a corner.
Oh, you love that, Dave.
Oh, I love all that. Yeah, Palmer. Look, I'm not even sure he got the nod, but I think he just thought, "Oh, sod it, I'm going up anyway." And then, of course, the ball did break. We didn't win the first header, so that could have been a comedy moment. But fortunately, we got the ball. We got the ball back. But yeah, that was a rarity.
Oh dear. So 2-2 then. Here's some numbers for you, boys. 69-31 on the possession. 2.91 XG for 2 goals. I know it's padded by the penalty. 18 shots to 10. 5-2 on target. 5 big chances, but Joe, so we've drawn 3 and lost 1, and 2 of the draws have come from incredibly late penalties. Okay, this one was probably a bit less controversial than one at Birmingham, but I'm going to say it, Joe, for fear of getting shouted at in the chat. I love Professor McKenna. I think the squad's great. We're just not very good at the moment, and we just need to get the patterns of play going and the confidence going. And I just don't think we've been very good through the whole of August, Joe. Tell me I'm wrong.
No, I don't think you are wrong. And it's like, but you look at the stats, like XG for the month is, I think, 6.9 across the 4 games. Obviously, 1.8 of that is penalties. So you got 1.6. So you're over 5 expected goals and we've got 1 because 1 was no goal. So our finishing has been poor. We spoke about that last week with regards to the shots on target percentage and things. So,
well, Jake, sorry to interrupt. You made a really good point about dumb mistakes being punished for a couple of the goals as well.
Yeah, and I think I wouldn't say we've been unlucky because it's just how it is, but it does feel like every time we make a mistake, the ball ends up in our net, and we're having to work so hard to get the ball into the opposition net. It's just not clicking for us at the moment, and I think it's to do with what I spoke earlier about the sort of the risks we're not taking in the forward positions. We're playing it safe. There's a lot of percentage balls. There's a lot of slowing the game down, coming inside. Where when you look at when we have created chances, it's like Sam Smodic's making that run past George Hurst and getting onto the ball at Southampton and bits like that. And George Hurst winning the ball high up the pitch a couple of times and creating good chances that way. But we're just not when we go into sort of like our build-up phase, we get to a certain point and then they've got 10 men behind the ball at this point, and we don't seem to have any answers in breaking that down. And we don't seem to take good pot shots like in that first half where Kuyus plays that lovely flick to Chaplin. Chaplin, it's open there. You know how good his left foot is. You know he hits a target, and he fires a ball at Jaden Philogene sort of midriff sort of thing for him to bring down. And what goes from sort of a real nice opening becomes just a left-footed shot from a tight angle and without really anything in it. And it is all going forwards. I think there are, if you look at it, there are some positive areas for us. I think I know I've sort of said about the mistakes, but I think defensively we're looking pretty good in the main. And it's just, but again, you've got to count on the mistakes, but it's just going. And I think the midfield, I thought Matassi was growing into it. And I thought every game he's got better every game. But I say, as we'll find out, me and Craig are doing a new show on Wednesday with the player ratings for that. The Blue Monday team are sort of putting their own player ratings in for each one. But you look at it every game and defensively numbers are okay, midfield numbers are okay, and the forwards numbers are really low. And you look at it again yesterday, George Hurst, first half I thought was probably one of the worst I've seen in an Ipswich shirt. The ball's bouncing off him. He's trying to do everything really quickly first time and just he's just coming in and he's trying to lay it off and just keeps giving the ball away. Jaden Philogene, again, did next to nothing. Kind of Chapman had a decent first half, but Casey McAteer on the right doesn't really do anything in an attacking sense. So every time you've got those 4 attacking players and they're not doing anything. And I'd include Leif Davis now because when we attack, we sort of go to that 3-2-5 shape. He's the 5th attacker. So I think it's effectively your 5 attackers, whether that be sort of Leif Davis, Jaden Philogene or Jack Clark, George Hurst, Connor Chaplin, Sam Smodix, Casey McAteer, Cherog Benning, whoever we've played across there hasn't had a good game. I don't think a single one of them has had a good game all season.
So, Dave, my hope is, do you remember when we went up and Russ Martin was managing Southampton and they were really crap for like the first 6 games and then they went 23 unbeaten from like middle of... We're going to do that, right? Is that what's going to happen?
Yeah, comfortably. We'll probably go rest of the season unbeaten after. We included our win there, was it? As we played them early on Hutchinson School, didn't we? So
I think maybe they won on the Saturday against Leeds, if I'm remembering, and then
I think you might be
unbeaten
right, actually,
until like February or something.
Yeah, absolutely. So no, it certainly can. It's a turnaround. God, it's 4 games. It's 4 games gone. And as I know, we've said it before. Harry from Bath, McMill said it, and he certainly said, a lot of times yesterday on Radio Suffolk that it's building these partnerships.
Yeah, but Dave, that took till February in League One.
Well, it did, but it has to. You have to, though, don't you? You just have to. Although maybe with us, let's face it, we will have by far the best squad there. So perhaps individuals will carry us through, but it just doesn't look like that way.
Well, that was what sort of happened a bit in League One. Did we just overpower teams before the pattern of play clicked in?
Yeah, perhaps. But let's hope Sheffield United. Well,
Oh, mate,
came
we'll
Ipswich.
talk about them in a minute. They're in even more, well, I'm saying we're in disarray. We're just not quite there. They're in proper disarray, but...
Well, yeah, we'll talk about them in a minute.
Talk about it in a
right?
second.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it after a word from our show partners here at Atwell's Solicitors.
Blue Monday is brought to you in partnership with Atwell Solicitors, your ideal legal partner for property and business law. Whether you're buying a home, starting a business, or just need legal guidance, our dedicated team has got you covered. Trust our award-winning customer service team to handle your legal matters with care and expertise. Find out more at atwells.com or visit us at our offices in Ipswich, Colchester, London, and our new location in Woodbridge.
Well, we've been a busy bunch here, Dave, and we're going to do a giveaway because we are closing in on 6,000 subscribers here on the Blue Monday YouTube channel. So we are going to give away an Ipswich Town shirt, but we need to get there before we play Sheffield United, which is a couple of weeks on Friday, isn't it? What would anyone know what date that is? Like the 11th? Would that be about
12th.
right? 12th. So yeah, help us reach 6K YouTube subscriber target before ITFC versus Sheffield United. You may win a 25-26 Ipswich Town shirt. We're giving away a few of these. Always great, especially if we can get like a family or a kid gets the shirt or something, which is pretty awesome from our point of view. Rich is going to do the socials in the morning and we'll do all the T's and C's. But I mean, Dave, 6,000 subscribers for an Ipswich Town channel. Fantastic support from all the guys watching.
It is fantastic. From our little old podcast, Ben. It's fantastic. Yeah, you're quite right. Absolutely brilliant. And thanks to everybody for their support still.
And Joe, we are 132nd in the Apple Podcast sports charts at the moment as well.
But who's counting, Joe?
Yeah, but we have had Rich is counting because he sends us.
He's got the data
where we are in the chart.
Yeah, he's on it.
But yeah, I think we've had a really, really busy week, haven't we? But we've had so many views and listens across that.
Look at that graphic up there. I think you've got another busy week coming up, buddy, haven't you?
Yeah.
So beyond the scoreline with Adam and Oscar on Blue Monday Top Tier. If you're watching on YouTube, click down there, click the join button, and you can get some real great bonus content with Adam and Oscar and Henry and George, who've joined the pod team this season, and our great vloggers there, Jack leading that up with Sean and Kev as well. We're really, really pleased with what we're doing this season. I've got to admit, it's bloody hard work, but we're hanging in there. We've managed to get through August anyway. So yeah, we're going to have a live reaction. I think that's Joe and Craig, and then they're going to be back on Wednesday as well, talking news. We're going to do pre-match, which is going to talk about ITFC women. Going to take the international break, and yeah, Sunday we're going to get these two to do a bit of a state of the nation on August, and we'll have a good look ahead at the start of this 23-game unbeaten run that we're about to go on through September, October, November, December, and January. So that will be the flagship show coming up. Right, let's have a little looky at round 4 in the EFL Championship, and you can tell us what you want to talk about here. We'll come to you first, Dave. Leicester 2, Birmingham 0. I dare say Chris Davies got Marty Cifuentes did a number on him in that. I watched that one. Borough 1, Sheffield United 0. That's our next opponents. And the league leaders, a perfect Handsome Rob, 4 out of 4, 12 points there. QPR 3, Charlton 1. Rangers bouncing back from a 7-1 defeat last time out. Charlton leakier than normal. Never, ever, ever, ever trust Stoke City. Stoke 0, West Brom 1. Great performance. Quite interested in your take on Ryan Mason, who started really well. And lots of West Brom fans saying, Ben, you're taking all our defenders and we bought better ones and banked all your money and all of that. So there you go. Blackburn 0, Norwich 2. Dare I say Josh Sargent is the best player in the Championship at the moment?
Is there any talk? Is there any...
Get him out of there.
Get him out.
Get him out. Get him out. They don't need him. Bristol City 4, Hull 2. Millwall 0, Wrexham 2. Big Kiefer with a goal, but I think Broadhead might have got her. Oxford 2. Coventry 2, Pompey 1. Preston 0, Andre Dezelle with a deflected goal in that one, Dave. Wednesday 0, Swans 2. Watford 2, Southampton 2. Dave, you've got to get a look at this Iran Kunda bloke from Watford. He is
Number 66.
He is brilliant, Joe. Who do you want to talk about, Dave?
Oh, I don't know. Where do you start with
Where
that?
do I
Well,
begin?
I suppose we start. We mentioned Norwich and obviously Josh Sargent. I think it was his 6th goal in
6 in
5
5.
games now.
Brilliant.
It's ridiculous. We don't want that, do we? Leicester Birmingham. I saw some of that Friday night. It was pretty turgid stuff, but again, another very good finish for Tawu for the first goal there. As you said, big keeper.
And Dave, just
for
quickly, that's a year 1 parachute team playing quite compact, quite pragmatic at home against Birmingham. So for those people who like to bash Kieran McKenna for not doing that, Marty Cifuentes did that and won. So I'm just shit stirring in the chat here, Dave.
Yeah, Coventry drew to free scoring Coventry. I mean, they're scoring goals pretty much for fun, but obviously conceding were there. And yeah, nice to see young Andre get, albeit slight deflection, but yeah, I think he looks like he's getting through regular football under Mousinho there at Portman, which is good.
John Mousinho, I listened to his post-match, Dave, and it could have been a spiel from you 6 years ago about Andre Dessel. Yeah, really good, gets in good positions. You want to see a little bit more from him. He's got a good shot on it. It's like, Andre, come on, we're still saying
so much
the same thing.
Talent, that boy
guys, before Joe Fairs talks about EFL Championship Round 4, we're going to go to questions, so you can ask us about transfers. More specifically, you can ask Joe about transfers now. Get your questions in. Rich is going to star some. But Joe, what do you want to mention about round 4 in the Championship, mate?
There wasn't that much to excite me this weekend. I think just sort of so focused on us at the moment, it's difficult to look there. But I guess I watched a little bit of that Middlesbrough-Sheffield United game, and Sheffield United looked really, really poor. And the goal is just such poor defending from so many players. They look a real disorganised rabble. And I'd say they're still in receipt of parachute payments and have lost 4 out of 4. There's a lot of talk already that Sellers might not even be in charge for the next game when we play them, let alone for much longer.
I'm pretty certain he'll get that. Tanganga's a good signing, isn't it, Joe?
Yeah. Tanganga's a very good signing. So, but yeah, he just seems like the wrong fit for what they need there. And the recruitment model seems very confused. You've gone from using this AI recruitment, which I guess it just means an analyst and looking at data.
Signing Danny Ings.
Signing players from the Bulgarian league. And then all of a sudden you sign Danny Ings, Ben Mee and Nathan Redmond. If something has gone wrong with your recruitment model, if you're going from there and there. I think Danny Ings is a good signing, actually. I know he's getting a lot of mocking, but I just think, actually, he's a really, really good player, and I think he'll do well for them. But it just seems a club in a bit of a mess.
Hamer will move tomorrow, won't he, Joe? Ben?
Joe?
Well, Leeds, I think that's where he's been linked with, but I don't know if he will. But they said he's not pushing for a move, but he's open to going back to the Premier League.
I just thought it's a bit like Norwich, actually, Sheffield United, where Norwich had Sainz, Nunes and Sargent, and you thought 2 out of 3 would go. And Sheffield United had Ahmed Hodzic. Who's the other one, Joe? I'm missing. Harmer and Sousa. And they sold.
He went early
Sousa and Ahmed Hodzic. So I think Harmer could. I mean, you don't want him playing against us, but you'll enjoy watching him. Dave, 0 tactical discipline, but great to watch. Yeah,
love that sort of player. Don't mind that at all. Wasn't Enjoy at Sheffield United a couple of seasons ago?
Yeah,
he looks
there,
business now, don't he? He really does. He looks a player.
Amen.
But yeah.
Right, shall we go to some questions? Get them in the chat. Oh my God, I've got plenty of them. Loan swap, Wolfenden for Harmer. I don't know quite how much that does for the Blades, but we won't get Joe to talk about Wolfenden. But Coventry and Watford and everybody else, Dave, linked with Wolfenden.
Yeah. Look, you think his time. Unfortunately, I think we'd all love to see him stay and get some game time, but really unlikely to happen, isn't it? And obviously he signed his long-term contract last January, probably on the thought process that we were going to get relegated, and O'Shea would have gone, but obviously Morsey went. He's made club captain, and so he's obviously there for the duration. So he needs to go somewhere, and I think he'll go with everybody's everybody's blessing, but just sad that someone who's come through our local lad that's come through our academy will probably leave.
Yeah, because Kieran McKenna confirmed after the game that he does want to leave. He said he's asked to leave and has been unhappy for some time, and also that Chio Ogbene is probably going to go out on loan. He's available to go out on loan. Yeah, McKenna said after the game yesterday, and he's been linked with Sheffield United tonight. But McKenna basically said, because he wasn't on the bench, we looked at, he's not on the bench. It's a strange one. And we looked at that right-hand side where you had sort of Burns, McAteer, Ogbene.
You don't want to loan a £7 million sign into a parachute club, do you?
Yeah, well, if he can't get in the team at the moment, and he's like I say, you got 4 right wingers effectively. Where's Burns back soon? So something has to give there.
Well, McAteer's got to play with that thing.
Yeah, McAteer's going to play. Valet Agele's going to play, and it was, I guess, between Burns and Ogbene, and I think we're sticking with Burns. It seems. I think he said Ogbene needs to be somewhere to get into the rhythm of playing games again. Maybe they just don't think he's going to be back from that sort of horrendous Achilles injury with the same sort of explosive pace that he had before. And if he doesn't have that, what does he have for us? And I don't know. He doesn't seem a great fit for our system. He would have been in the Premier League when you're defending a lot, but when you're attacking a lot, maybe isn't seen as that. So he's one that will be probably on the way out tomorrow.
Dave, how can we get Leif Davis back to his best? Is this just one where the toothpaste is kind of out of the tube and everybody studied that 23-24 team and everyone's just prepped for lopsided 4-2-3-1, blah, 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 switch to play, and they've got to do something different. So have we just got to accept we're not going to see, because it's not going to work because everyone knows what's about to happen?
I honestly think it is. I'm not going to say what I normally say. I think it is some of that. I think it is. I think it is some of that. But
give the people what they want, Dave.
As we said at the start, he probably is playing sort of 5 yards, 10 yards deeper than perhaps he was before. He isn't so progressive, and more importantly, he's yet to really, that partnership, if you want to call it that, with Philogene just hasn't quite gelled yet, has it? Not really. It's not really happening. I still miss that driven pass from Burgess down the line. I still miss that. Greaves has got that, to be fair, but you still miss that big Burge pass, don't you? But I think it is. I will say it. I think it is a little bit of both.
But Joe, this is ridiculous, mate. We don't need to rely on a left back when you've got 2 Golden Boot winners just signed. You've got Philogene, who had absurd numbers with Hull. So did Jack Clark with Sunderland. You've just brought in Azon and some Scandinavian wunderkid. Surely the time is now where you say, right, Leif, the role's going to be slightly different and the goals and assists are going to come from elsewhere, and we will unleash you at times, but there's going to be more of an element of surprise. Surely the goals can be spread out now and you don't have to rely on the left back for 20 assists.
Yeah, they can be. I'm not too worried about that at the moment, but for me, it's sort of mentioned a few times, when you're talking about these players not taking risks, I think down that left-hand side with Philogene and Davis is probably where it's most obvious. Okay. They're sort of not getting into the positions. They're sitting a few yards deeper. When they're getting the ball, it's slowing down. When they've got an opportunity to drive into space, they're not taking it. When they've got opportunities to take shots or get early crossing, they're not taking them. So I think it's just getting that into their heads, that risk-taking mentality into their heads.
Charlie Joe asks, is top 2 too much of an ask? Not right now, but if it's...
we're still the bookies' favourites for the league, and there's a reason for that. We've got a fantastic,
if it goes
fantastic manager.
8-10 games, the way points have been scored, you start to worry, don't you?
Yeah. Well, yeah, of course you will. Like, we want to be getting 95 points, and we've got 3 from 4, so you're now looking at like 90 points from 42, which is over 2 points a game for sort of well over sort of 2 points a game, isn't it?
There it is. 2 points a game, Ben. There it is.
So it's the deal, mate. It's the deal.
Yep.
That's the maths for a 24 league, 24 team league, which I always fall over saying. Norman Dave asks, McAteer always seems to turn backwards when he got the ball. Should we have signed Fellows instead?
Wow.
There seems to be. I must admit, when you look at, I don't want to be critical of the club, but McAteer for 12 million versus Fellows for
Seems
10.
A bit lopsided, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Seems a little bit.
I think we've been in for Fellows before, so there must be a reason why we didn't pursue that.
Well, because we signed the rest of the West Brom squad.
Yeah. No, but we've obviously got a very good relationship with West Brom as a club to deal with.
Mark Ashton bloody loves them, doesn't he?
Yeah, we've looked at Tom Fellows a number of times in previous windows, especially the 2 Premier League ones. I think we went in for him, but there's obviously a reason why we don't think he's the right player for our system. And I think when you heard Kieran McKenna talk about Casey McAteer, he talks about him being sort of good straight line runner, good pace, good physicality, getting on the ends of things. So yeah, he wants to go back to that sort of Wes Burns type, because Wes Burns has been our best right winger through this Kieran McKenna period by a long distance, and he's been the one that has been able to come up with big moments in big games constantly. So I think McAteer is seen as a similar profile and similar player to him. Bene was, but they must be because of that.
Yeah,
Sorry, Dave, you're going to come in there, mate.
You just miss Burns' directness, don't you? You just realise just how good he was in those 2 seasons, really, don't you? That one, the understanding perhaps he had with Chaplin, I guess, but that he was just so direct. And the amount of time, I'll be watching it happening right in front of me where I sit. He'd drive to the line, get the ball in. We just seem a bit, so far this season, no one's really wanted to do that, and we've just been too safe, haven't we? I think is just too safe when we get the ball in those positions.
Agreed. Jeremy asked Dave, likelihood of striker arriving by 7 p.m. tomorrow in percentage terms. Is now that Azon has been signed, does that not happen, or is one more coming?
I guess if one came available, you'd consider it, wouldn't you?
He asked for a percentage likelihood, Dave.
50.
Give the man what he wants. 50.
No, hang on. 49.
That's a bit of both answers.
49.
Joseph?
51. I do think we are one short in that striking department with only George Hurst and Azon. If anything, if George Hurst suffers an injury, we're in that position again where we've only got one striker. I know Akpom can play there, but he's not that out and out 9 like we like in this system.
He looked the lad when he came on yesterday. He didn't really affect the game too much, but looked quite lively. Yeah.
Is it 3-game week when we come back? It's not, is it? It's the following week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
which might colour our answer to this question from Ed, Dave. Agueli and Nunes straight in against the Blades. They won't both start, Dave.
No.
One of them might.
Well, one of them might. I mean, obviously, Agueli's away with Norway, isn't he? From what I understand, I believe he is.
Yeah, he's away with the under-21s there.
So I'm not sure. Nunes will be away. So maybe of the two, if there is a chance, perhaps Nunes. But again, I'd have thought more likely bench.
You agree with that, Joe?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. It's a shame that he's not able to come here and have that 2 weeks really getting into things here and getting to know his new teammates, new manager, and the patterns of play he's going to be working in, and just showing what he can do. Because I don't know how many we've got in international. We've obviously got 5 in the Ireland squad: Taylor, O'Shea, Bene, McAteer, and Smodic. So 5 of them are away. Shane McAteer is a new signing. George Hurst will be away with Scotland. Obviously Agueli now with Norway, but I'm not sure who else will be.
I just got the idea here that McKenna is so set on, he's tried so hard to keep stability in the 11 so far, and there will be some changes, but I think he's going to delay them as long as he possibly can. And as the great Marcus Stewart said, the team that starts the season is never the team that finishes the season. But we can't sit here on this podcast and say the pattern of play is gone, and then right, we want 5 changes, we want 6 changes, and then switch, because the pattern of play is not going to come with that. You want at least 7-8 Dave starting regular, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me for the Sheffield United game if touch word, everybody comes back fit, that we saw fairly similar to what we saw yesterday. I'm sure he'll persist. Although he wasn't great, I'm sure he'll persist with. Well, okay, maybe Furlong for Young. Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll still persist with Philip.
10 of the 11.
Yeah,
I can see that.
So. Yeah.
But anyway, we've got lots of shows to do that. Last one here, Toffee Crisp. Have we lost our identity? Joe, yes, but we're going to get it back, aren't we?
Yeah, well, it's a different identity to what we had before.
Right, yeah.
And because of that, teams had played us differently. They didn't set us up like how they're going to play us now, because if they set up to play openly against us now, we're going to tear them to shreds, really, aren't we? So it is harder, and we've got to learn. We've got to take the expectation of winning each week, which we had sort of in that League One season, that expectation of winning every week, and now we've got to go for that. But yeah, no, we are trying to do things differently. We are trying to play like a Premier League club, which is what we've got to do. But we do just need we do just need to get there and get some wins under our belts and get moving. But yeah, there's too much talent in the squad. The manager's too good. The players are too good for it to carry on like this.
Thanks, LJ. $9.99 on the super chat. Last live Flagship until February of the NFL starting next Sunday. Look forward to listening on my commute instead. Thank you so much, LJ.
Yeah.
Very kind. Just Dave, to round this out in terms of the identity. I mean, the Broadhead going out was the one for me, but tomorrow, if you hadn't said goodbye to the glorious, amazing double promotion winning team and identity and losing it and moving and McKenna team too, I think tomorrow it's the end. We've got to move on, haven't we? Because another couple of players from that team are going, aren't they?
Yeah, we have. And look, football evolves. We all realise that, like a hark back, as Colin in the chat and other people in the chat can, to 80-81, and that great side breaking up over the course of the next probably 2, 3 or 4 seasons, where you think you're going to be challenging Liverpool for the title forever, and it's suddenly within 2 or 3 seasons it's gone. So football evolves, but it was such a story, such a narrative where we came from under McKenna, that there's always going to be that deep warmth for that squad. So football moves on, and as Joker rightly said, it's almost a new form of identity we've got to adopt, and we will. And not that sounds harsh to say that will be forgotten. It will never be forgotten, but everyone will accept it, and a few wins and up and running, and you'll move on.
Right, we've gone over the hour, so I'm going to call this podcast now. Apologies if you put a question in and it did not get read out, but you can join Joe and Craig tomorrow. Do you know what time you're going on, Joe? You're going after the window closes or the last hour?
It shuts at 7, doesn't it? So I think we'll do like 8 till 9. So I guess the sort of deal sheets and stuff will be in, but we should know where we are there. If anything major looks like it's happening, maybe things change, but the plan is to go live at 8 o'clock.
We'll leave some of them starred as well, Joe, so you can pick up some questions tomorrow if they pertain. Hopefully, there'll be some nice good news for you to talk about, and there'll be more questions in tomorrow. Dave, last word from you, mate.
Yeah, look, let's hope. All I can say, let's hope onwards and upwards. Let's hope everyone comes back fighting fit after the international break, and we get those first 3 points on the board.
Amen. Thank you, everybody, for watching Blue Man in Ipswich Town podcast, which is 2 Derby 2 on to transfer deadline day tomorrow.